So I'm in our bathroom in the basement. We had a flood upstairs just real quick, and some of the water came down into the basement, and we were poking holes in the ceiling, letting the water get out, and then we were blowing air up in there and sucking air out of there. But I want to make sure that it's all dried out. It was a while back. I want to make sure there's no mildew, no mold. So I'm going to cut a hole in the ceiling. We were going to try and patch it, and I thought, well, I'd rather see what's up there, so I'm going to cut a hole in it, and then if there is no problem, no mildew or mold, I'm going to take this access panel and I'm going to put that in its place, so it gives it like a finished look, and without having to replace that part of the ceiling or patching it, and then we can always get to it later if we ever want to run any wiring or plumbing or check if anything ever floods again. So we're going to go to town on the ceiling, and I'll show you how that goes. That is, we were going to try and patch it. So there's actually holes from here to here. If it works out, we'll be able to cover from here to here and then just patch a little bit on the sides. I'm going to cut a hole right here, a smaller one than I need to, because there's two access panels that I can use, a small one or a big one, and we'll see how it goes. So what you want to do is you have a saw. It's called a drywall saw. You can use this, and I'm pretty sure that I can just cut anywhere in here. And what you want to do is keep trying to get it through there. Work your way in. And as you can see, it is dry as a bone. Everything that I was worried about that had been wet up there, I was going to put a drop ceiling. I was going to cut the whole thing down and put a drop ceiling up there. Well, that's a lot of time, a lot of mess, a lot of expense. Now that I know that it's dry up there, everything dried out well, no mold, that's where the water was sitting, I will cut further into that and make the measurements drawn on there, then cut it, and then I'll put the thing in place, and I'll show you how that goes. As you can see, the drywall is 5/8 inch drywall, and the lip is 5/8 inch. So you won't have to worry about getting in between studs, because it'll just go flush with the bottom of the stud, because the drywall is just as thick. Now, if you were using 1/2 inch drywall, you'd probably want to make sure it's in between studs. So all I have to do is make sure that I am parallel to the wall opening. So I'm going to get a tape measure, and I'll come across here and measure out, and I'll come across here and measure out, so I can make sure that it's level and square, so everything looks good. So I've got the camera at odd angles so that you can see things. What I want to do is come across and hold this up and see where it's going to be covering all the damaged area that we were going to try and hide with patches. And I'm trying to decide, do I want to have it, patch a little bit here and patch a little bit here, or do I want to patch all on one side? And I think what I'm going to do is patch all on one side. So I want to come across here, and I'll see what'll hide that. And then what I'll do is measure what is 9 inches. I think 9 inches. Yeah, 9 inches. That's 9.5. Takes a little finagling when you're upside down. So general rule of carpentry: measure twice or 3 times and cut once. So that's the template, and what I will do is I will get my saw and I will cut on the outside of this line so that can fit inside of there, and I'll go all the way around. Like I said, you want to be on the outside. And there's nothing in the way up there. Lock the door so nobody comes in and hits my elbow. I do see that there's a pipe up there. A bigger hole in the ceiling. I wanted to see where this pipe was, and then there's some another PVC pipe up there as well. So I wanted to see what I was doing before I got in too deep. Everything still looks dry up there, so I wouldn't have had to do this, but it gives me peace of mind. So I've gone across, got this done, then I cut this area where the floor joist is with the knife, with the utility knife, and then I cut across this backside with this knife again. Now I'm cutting across here. I'll hit the floor joist again, and I'll have to start over here and then use the utility knife. So I'll go back to town on this one. And at least get through the paper. Should be okay, and then you kind of just clean up as you go. Now, you can see there are nails here. I'll go get a hammer and I'll pull those out, and then I'll dry fit. Actually, I can dry fit this. If I didn't cut it big enough, which I probably did not, then I can shave along the edge of one or maybe 2 sides to get it in. Usually you should cut bigger than you need, and I did not. So a learning lesson from me to you is always cut a little bit bigger than you think, because now I'll have to shave, which is no fun. Okay, so what I did was I used the knife to scribe even closer so that this could get fit up in there. And it's actually a really nice tight friction fit. Just means that it's real tight in there. I did bring down some all-purpose adhesive glue, where you could have put on the back side of here a nice thick bead, and then pressed it into place, and that would hold it. But like I said, this is such a nice friction fit that it's going to work out really nice. I did bring down a hammer so that I can pull these nails. These were used to put the drywall up. So now that's out of the way. Been years since I put one of these in. So we'll see how this goes. I think it just goes like this. Should be just a square. That is my access panel now. If there's ever a leak, I can pull that down. I can see where the water is. I can dry it out. If I ever want to add any kind of wiring or plumbing or heating, I can go up and look in there and see how things are going.